Blarg! What's up, Samurai? We are back in more Trove, and today, well, this has been an ongoing project that I will say that I've been steadily working on here and there, just kind of chipping away at it. Honestly speaking, I could have got this out to you guys a lot sooner if I spent the necessary amount of dedicated time towards it. The thing is, when I'm working on these kind of personal projects, I can tend to blow things out of proportion. And so this is going to end up being version 1 of my Trove class cheat sheet, right? I plan on adding more to it, but I mean, let me just show you right here. So this is my character cheat sheet or spreadsheet or whatever. Basically, it is your end-all questionnaire of which classes are good at what thing. I'll kind of go into a little bit more in detail with individual classes and so on and so forth. I will also have definitive individual tutorial videos this year for, you know, all of the classes updated and everything like that. But I'm hoping that in March we see, hopefully, a substantial update coming to Trove that might change a lot of that. And so I don't know if I want to end up doing class tutorials now, because there is a likelihood that I will have to redo them whenever this mega mystery update potentially comes out. Who knows if it actually will. But I'm calling this version 1 because later down the line I want to end up adding more things. Like I want to talk about ideal subclasses and you know, flasks and so on and so forth. But yeah, so let's look at the image. So essentially, if you haven't already put it together, the first tab, let's zoom in on the Solarion, for example. The first tab is going to end up being for speed farming. The portal is for delves and the skull is for bosses. And the bars are how proficient the class is at each of those. Take a screenshot of your screen or whatever, you know, and essentially just use this so that you can see very quickly and very easily like which class you want to main based on their certain abilities. Now, I know that there's gonna be some naysayers in the comments, okay? And again, this is just version 1. I can tweak some of this, but I did do the majority of all of these charts or whatever with you guys on multiple streaming occasions last year. It was a couple months back by now, but I didn't want to just have my own opinion towards it. I wanted to take opinions from you guys, and then on top of that, that was the other reason I was doing the Leviathan videos, is then I could see how all of the classes actually fared as boss killers. And so I've been slightly adjusting the list ever since. So let's see, I have a brief summary for each of the classes with, you know, extended tutorials and how you build them all coming a little bit later in the year. But essentially, Solarion, you can see, is not a very good speed farmer, not a good delves class, but it's a fantastic boss killer, if not the absolute best. Some Boomer mains would disagree, but as I'll explain, there is a very specific circumstance where Boomeranger is better versus Solarion just being outright better in most instances. Barb is not a good boss killer, but is pretty okay at delves and okay at speed farming, as you can see. Vanguard is also going to end up being, you know, decent speed farmer. Not very good at delves, but better than you would think, and not a very good boss killer. And that's one thing that we ended up learning first and foremost, right? You know, and then we got Dino Tamer, which is a good speed farmer, good at delves, good at bosses as well. It's kind of an all-around really good character. You wouldn't think so, but it is. Chloromancer, terrible speed farmer, not the best at delves. I don't know anybody who uses Chloromancer in the delves when there's other options. Decent enough boss killer. Moving on to the Lunar Lancer, I wanted to make this clear because you might have noticed that the left side is, you know, kind of showing a sword image, and then the right side is also showing a Minecraft sword, but then the Chloromancer, by comparison, ended up having the spell book. So that is just showing whether a class is close range or long range. That's it. And then the crossed swords is showing whether the class is a DPS or a tank. But in most cases, almost all classes are DPS. So it's kind of a moot point. And I don't know whether or not I'll keep that image in further versions. But anyways, Lunar Lancer is god tier at speed. Not very good at delves. Okay at delves, but it's not good at delves. Let's be real here. Better at bosses than killing delves. Revenant, surprisingly good at delves, not really anything else. I guess I don't need to go into each of the categories, but just to mention very briefly, yeah. Tombrazor, not a good speed farmer, obviously, but good at delves and boss farming. Most of all, the reason why is because, see the little heart icon? Same as the Revenant, the class is basically invincible. Especially when it comes to Tombrazor, because the sheer amount of damage that you have from your Skell babies ends up helping a lot in the delves for the delve bosses, not necessarily the delves floor itself, but your babies can end up doing a decent amount. Boomeranger, again, this is, you know, I kind of put the Boomeranger pretty high up there. I probably could tweak its movement speed to be a little higher in this list. Boomermains might be mad, but the thing is, Boomeranger, from those of you that I've heard say like, oh, you know, your opinion of the Boomeranger is wrong. Why do you think Solarion is the strongest? Let's be real here. Most of you Boomerains are a little bit salty about it. Just because it's your favorite class doesn't mean it's automatically the best. And the other thing too that you gotta consider is what I do with my tutorials and why I would say Solarion is more than likely going to end up being a better boss killer on average is just because it's a lot easier to build the character versus Boomer. Now, obviously, Boomer is an easier character to obtain and is a fantastic alternative if you cannot get the Solarion, just because it is a really powerful character, Boomeranger. It's just that in most instances that I've seen, the only time a Boomer will top a Solarion is if you have like a couple of them so that you can use your ultimate to boost off of each other. And, you know, sometimes there's a Bard involved. Anyways, moving on, Draco, fantastic at delves, decent at boss, not good speed farm. Gunslinger kind of sucks. It's better than average at a boss killer, but honestly, Gunslinger is in a terrible place right now. Let's be real. Neo Ninja, you know, is probably one of the only classes that'll have 5 stars for speed farming. And after recently fighting some Leviathans, I was really surprised at how powerful the Neo Ninja's ultimate ability is. It actually was really good. Candy Barb, good speed farmer, especially with the crystal ring of spin to win. Gives you a big movement speed boost. The class is also really good in delves just because it's the Candy Barb, so it swings like a truck. Not a good boss killer though, unfortunately, because it's really good at like burst damage, but not anything that survives a long period of time. Fae Trickster can be a decent speed farmer just because of that teleport. Not very good at delves. I wouldn't say it's very good at bosses. But Fae mains would disagree, and that's why I kind of gave it a little bit more, just because I know that I don't build my Fae properly. Shadowhunter, I'm not biased. Shadowhunter is kind of an all-around jack of all trades. But Master of None doesn't really apply because that implies that the class isn't good at anything that it does, and it does a lot of things. It's actually really, really good as a all-around encompassing class that you can use for every aspect of the game efficiently, whereas other characters have strengths and weaknesses. So like Ice Sage, sorry, not Fae Trickster, fantastic delves class, still a good boss killer, not very good speed farmer. Pirate Captain, pretty good boss killer, not very good in delves. Or more particularly, it's fantastic fighting delve bosses, but not the enemies themselves, just because your turrets are so stupid. And then the Knight also has a surprising amount of speed, you wouldn't think so, and is also pretty good in delves and probably deserves a little bit of a higher ranking for a boss killer. The problem is that the Knight is boring. All you do is left click, and that is the most efficient attack that you can do with the class. Anyways, I just wanted to have this as a quick little video for you guys. Most of all, just to introduce this image out into the wild. I hope that I did justice. You know, if you guys disagree with some stuff, just be constructive with your criticisms. Don't just be out there like, well, my favorite class got shafted. It's like, you know, I try to have an unbiased opinion about all the classes and stuff. And also I'm taking a lot of this from my own personal experience, as well as what I've heard from the community and friends and so on and so forth. So if there is anything that you disagree with or think needs slightly changed, I would appreciate if you sound off in the comments. And honestly, if you like the list and think that it's actually good the way that it is, I would appreciate that as well. Because that's kind of the only way that I can decide whether or not things need changing is I need to kind of hear from you guys, and I want to be able to build this with the community, you know, on top of maybe you guys have some ideas of how I could make this better than the proof of concept idea I showed earlier in the video. Again, this is just version 1, okay? So be gentle. Anyways, lastly, I just wanted to mention in passing that I know that I've been a little bit behind on my Trove videos. It's not because of this project or anything like that. It's just I'm kind of at the phase right now where I'm taking a bit of a break from making Trove content. I'm still actually hopping on Trove quite regularly. And I'm hoping to stream a lot more to compensate, because I just don't really feel like super inspired to record stuff with Trove outside of like these weirder videos. Just because I've kind of done everything already. You know, like I know I need to do like an updated mod video and updates to all the class videos and stuff like that. And we'll get around to those for sure. Okay. It's just that I haven't really felt like doing it right now. And I'm kind of spreading, if I'm being honest, I'm kind of spreading myself thin between a bunch of different games and a lot of different behind the scenes projects, but we'll talk about those soon. Anyways, smash the like sub for more. Buy the merch if you want to support the channel, and have a wonderful day, ladies and gentlemen. I hope that I did good with this list.